First contact and devastation. The artificial night cycle of Nova Haven's central dome was just giving way to simulated dawn when Commander Maya Lin completed her morning inspection round. Standing at the observation deck, she watched as the massive excavators carved into the moon's icy crust below. Nova Haven wasn't pretty, no frontier colony ever was, but it was efficient. 3,000 colonists had transformed this barren moon into humanity's most productive helium-3 mining operation in just 5 years. Status report, Maya requested, her cybernetic neural link connecting directly to the colony's central systems. All systems nominal, Commander, responded Aiden, the colony's AI. Mining production is 3% above projected quotas. Environmental systems are stable. Deep scan of Sector 17 begins in 30 minutes. Maya nodded, satisfied. Nova Haven represented everything impressive about humanity's expansion into the stars: adaptability, resourcefulness, and sheer determination. The moon's surface temperature hovered at -200 degrees. Radiation levels would kill an unprotected human in minutes, and yet here they were, not just surviving, but thriving. Commander, Aiden's voice shifted to a higher priority tone. Anomalous readings detected at system edge, multiple objects decelerating from superluminal speeds. Maya's relaxed posture vanished instantly. Classification? Unknown. Configuration matches no registered human vessels. Size estimates indicate 7 capital-class ships. Alert status Alpha, Maya ordered. All non-essential personnel to shelter zones. Defense grid online. The calm morning dissolved into organized chaos as alert klaxons echoed throughout the colony. Nova Haven wasn't defenseless. Corporate mining colonies had learned harsh lessons about pirates and claim jumpers over the decades, but neither was it a military installation. Its defenses were designed to deter opportunists, not repel a proper invasion force. Maya strode purposefully to the command center, her augmented legs carrying her at twice normal human speed through corridors that were already transforming as defense protocols activated. Blast shields descended over vulnerable areas, automated turrets emerged from concealed housings, and emergency power systems came online. Visual contact established, announced Lieutenant Porter as Maya entered the command center. Putting it on main display. The massive holographic projection showed 7 vessels approaching in perfect formation. Their design was unlike anything in human records. Organic-looking yet precisely geometric, like massive crystalline structures that had somehow been grown rather than constructed. They radiated power and age, technologies far beyond current, human capabilities. Any response to hails? Maya asked, her voice carefully controlled. None, Commander, Communications Officer Chen replied. We've tried all standard protocols and frequencies. They're scanning us, reported Defense Officer Rajiv Shah. Intensive electromagnetic and gravitational probes. Our systems can barely track the technology they're using. Maya considered their options. Nova Haven's defensive capabilities were significant for a mining colony, but laughably inadequate against what approached. Evacuation was impossible. Their transport vessels could handle perhaps a quarter of the population at most, and the nearest reinforcements were 2 weeks away, at best. Open a direct channel, she ordered. All frequencies maximum broadcast power. When the system confirmed readiness, Maya straightened her uniform and faced the projection. This is Commander Maya Lin of the Earth Colonial Authority Outpost, Nova Haven. You have entered Earth-claimed territory without authorization. Identify yourselves and state your intentions immediately. For several tense moments there was no response. Then the holographic display flickered, and a figure materialized in the command center. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, with a body, structure that suggested an insectoid evolutionary path, though far more elegant than Earth insects. Its carapace gleamed with iridescent patterns that shifted continuously, and multiple compound eyes assessed the humans with cold calculation. I am High Commander Vexus Scarith of the Scarith Dominion, the being announced in flawless synthesized English. Your presence on this moon violates sovereign Scarith territory claimed 10,000 cycles before your species learned to use fire. Maya maintained her composure. This system was thoroughly surveyed before colonization. No evidence of prior Claims or settlements was discovered. We are willing to discuss diplomatic. Irrelevant, the alien interrupted. The claim markers are buried beneath the surface, precisely where your mining operations are now disturbing them. The Dominion does not negotiate with trespassers. You will evacuate immediately, leaving all infrastructure intact. This colony houses 3,000 civilians, Maya countered. We require time to organize an evacuation and you have one planetary rotation, Vexus Gareth stated flatly. Those who remain will be eliminated as contaminants. The hologram vanished before Maya could respond. Options? She asked, looking around at her senior staff. Conventional defense is impossible against that level of technology, Shaw stated grimly, and we can't evacuate everyone in time. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the colony's chief scientist, had been unusually quiet. Now she spoke up. There's Project E. Draco. The command center fell silent. Project Draco wasn't officially acknowledged even among senior staff. It was a last resort protocol embedded in frontier colonies after the Europa massacre 15 years earlier. Draco is untested, Maya said carefully. So is surrender, Elena replied. And those energy signatures we detected last month in the deep core survey? They're not natural formations. They're responding to something, Commander. They might respond to Draco's activation sequence. Maya made her decision. Initiate protocol. Draco. Security clearance Lin Alpha 7 Delta. Throughout the colony, subtle changes began. Quantum communication nodes embedded in the colony's infrastructure activated. What had appeared to be standard construction materials began to shift. At the molecular level, deep beneath the colony, mysterious energy signatures began to pulse. Dr. Vasquez, accelerate your research on those energy signatures, Maya ordered. Lieutenant Porter, begin defensive preparations. Evacuate non-essential personnel to the deep shelters. Officer Chen, open another channel, try to negotiate for more time. As her team dispersed, Maya accessed a secure system with her neural link, reviewing classified files she had hoped never to need. Project Draco was more than a defense system. It was a transformation protocol. The colony itself was designed to evolve under threat. But more importantly, it would transmit an encoded quantum signal back to Earth that would trigger something far more significant. 18 hours later, the Scareth fleet took up attack positions. Despite Chen's diplomatic efforts, the aliens had grown impatient. The first energy torpedoes struck Nova Haven's primary power facility at Oro 547 local time. What should have crippled the colony instead triggered Draco's full activation. Throughout the settlement, infrastructure that had appeared normal began to transform. Habitation domes hardened, developing layered shields. Mining equipment reconfigured into defensive platforms. The colony's quantum network accelerated to speeds that enabled instant coordination. Deep beneath the colony, the energy signatures discovered by Elena's team surged in response, integrating with human systems in ways that defied conventional understanding. The second wave of Scareth attacks hit with overwhelming force. Orbital platforms unleashed destruction designed to break any civilization's resistance. Energy weapons turned the colony's surface structures into slag. Communication arrays exploded in cascading electromagnetic pulses, and atmospheric processors ruptured, venting precious air into the vacuum. But each destruction triggered adaptation. The colony's systems weren't just defensive measures. They were evolving, becoming more resilient with each attack. What the Scareth saw as destroyed infrastructure was actually reconfiguring. In the command center, now relocated to a secure bunker deep beneath the colony, Maya watched the transformation with grim determination. Her augmented vision tracked multiple data streams coordinating the colony's response. What had begun as a standard mining operation was revealing its true nature. A forward outpost seeded with technology designed to evolve under attack. They think they're destroying us, Shaw observed with a tight smile as he coordinated countermeasures. They have no idea what they're actually doing. Elena burst into the command center, her face flushed with excitement and awe. Commander, those energy signatures, they're not natural formations, they're technology, ancient technology, and they're responding to Draco, integrating with our systems. On the main display, they watched as Scarith landing craft began their descent, clearly intending to claim what they believed was a devastated colony. They had approached this as a standard military operation: identify target, apply overwhelming force, confirm destruction, then collect the spoils. They had no idea that the devastation they'd wrought had actually completed a circuit, one that stretched 20 light-years back to Earth. As Scarith ground forces began methodically securing what remained of the colony's surface structures, Maya received confirmation that the quantum signal had successfully transmitted to Earth. Project Draco's primary phase was complete. Now, they needed to survive long enough for the second phase to arrive. "Take us dark," she ordered. "Minimum life support, 0 emissions. Everyone to deep shelters." For 3 days, the survivors of Nova Haven watched through hidden sensors as the Scarith methodically occupied their colony. The aliens were thorough, professional, and utterly merciless. Colonists who hadn't reached the shelters were summarily executed as biological contaminants. The aliens' technological superiority was evident in everything they did, from their advanced weaponry to their seamless integration with their equipment. On the 4th day, Elena made a breakthrough with the mysterious energy signatures. "They're not just technology," she reported, her voice hushed with wonder. "They're biological markers, genetic keys, and they're reacting specifically to human DNA." "What does that mean?" Maya asked. "It means," Elena replied, "that whatever is buried deep beneath this moon was left there for humans to find. The Project Draco signal we sent to Earth, it didn't just call for help. It unlocked something that's been dormant in our own genetic code for millennia." Maya's neural link pinged with a priority alert. Long-range sensors had detected quantum disturbances approaching the system, but not from the direction of Earth. Whatever was coming wasn't conventional reinforcements. "We need to prepare the resistance," Maya decided. "When our response arrives, we need to be ready to coordinate with them." As the survivors organized into resistance cells, distributing the adaptive weapons that Draco had generated, they had no way of knowing what form Earth's response would take. But deep in Maya's secured files was the complete specification of Project Draco and the terrifying, magnificent truth of what humanity had hidden within its own DNA. The ancient term dragon had been chosen very deliberately for the protocol, and soon, the Scarith would learn why the most dangerous predators in Earth's mythology had always been the ones that breathed fire. Awakening, the Defender's Admiral Jiang Wei stood motionless before the massive holographic display in Earth Defense Command's Crisis Center, his weathered face illuminated by the pulsing red marker that represented Nova Haven. The quantum distress signal had arrived 17 hours ago, carrying with it the encrypted Draco activation sequence. In 40 years of military service, he had hoped never to see this day. "Time to deployment?" he asked quietly. "Dragon protocol activation is at 97%, replied Colonel Diane Harper, his second-in-command. "The transformation process is nearly complete. Transport is standing by." Around them, dozens of specialists monitored intricate data streams as Earth's most classified military program awakened from decades of dormancy. What appeared to be a standard military installation 20 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean was revealing its true purpose: a genetic modification and training facility unlike anything publicly acknowledged by Earth authorities. "Show me," Jiang ordered. The display shifted to a cavernous chamber where 12 figures floated in transparent suspension tanks. Human in basic form, but unmistakably altered. Enhanced musculature, reinforced skeletal structures, and specialized organ systems that had no analog in standard human physiology were clearly visible through semi-translucent skin that shimmered with an iridescent scale-like pattern. "Dragon Squad Delta," Harper explained. "Our most advanced operatives. Their genetic modifications were dormant until the Draco signal arrived, triggering the final transformation sequence. And they consented." "To this?" Jiang asked, though he already knew the answer. "Every operative is a volunteer," Harper confirmed. The dormant genetic sequences were implanted years ago with full disclosure of potential activation scenarios. What they're becoming now, that was always within them, waiting for the right catalyst. The Dragon Protocol had been developed after humanity's first disastrous encounters with hostile alien species 50 years earlier. Conventional military technology had proven woefully inadequate against civilizations thousands of years more advanced. Earth needed an asymmetric advantage, something no technologically superior species would expect from primitive humans. The answer had been found in humanity's own genetic code and ancient legends. Dragons weren't just myths, they were genetic memories, encoded instructions for biological adaptations that humans had once possessed but had evolved away from over millennia. Project Draco had reactivated these dormant capabilities, creating soldiers who could transform into something beyond human when necessary. Final containment release in 60 seconds, announced the facility's AI. Transformation completion estimated at 99.8%. On the display, the suspension fluid drained from the tanks as the Dragon operatives opened their eyes, now vertical slits in irises that shifted colors like oil on water. Their movements were fluid, controlled, and radiated lethal precision as medical personnel approached with specialized equipment. "They're ready," Harper stated. "The quantum jump vessel Prometheus is prepared for immediate deployment. Estimated arrival at Nova Haven in under 3 hours using the new drive system." Zhang nodded gravely. "Authorized deployment. Full tactical discretion granted to Squad Commander Alexandra Petrov." In the transformation chamber, Squad Commander Petrov flexed her enhanced muscles, adjusting to the changes that had fully manifested during her conscious suspension. The dormant genetic modifications that had been implanted years ago had now fully integrated with her body, guided by the ancient biological markers in the Draco signal. "Status?" she asked her team, voice deeper and more resonant than before. "Optimal," replied Lieutenant Marcus Chen, his skin shimmering with subtle patterns as adaptive camouflage systems came online. "All systems integrated, neural enhancement, at 170% of human baseline." The other squad members reported similar successes as they donned their specialized combat suits. Not the bulky armor of conventional forces, but lightweight synthetic material designed to accommodate their transformative capabilities. The suits appeared almost ceremonial, with scale-like patterns etched into the material, but each was a technological marvel containing support systems for their enhanced biology. "Mission parameters confirmed," announced Colonel Harper, entering the chamber. "Nova Haven Colony is under hostile occupation by a previously unknown species, designating themselves as the Scarith Dominion. Their technology is significantly advanced beyond current human capabilities. Approximately 800 colonists have survived in deep shelters and are organizing resistance. Your primary objective is to eliminate the Scarith presence and secure the colony. Secondary objective is to investigate the ancient energy signatures detected beneath the colony surface." Petrov nodded. "Understood. Deployment timeline?" "Immediate. The Prometheus is ready. This will be the first combat deployment of both the Quantum Jump Drive and Project Draco operatives. Good hunting, Commander." As the Dragon operatives boarded the Prometheus, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, Petrov reviewed what they knew about the Scarith. The quantum packet from Nova Haven had contained tactical data on the invaders' capabilities, formidable energy weapons, advanced shield technology, and apparent telepathic coordination among their forces. Conventional military units would be slaughtered within minutes, but Dragon Squad was anything but conventional. "Pre-jump checks complete," reported the Prometheus's captain. "Quantum targeting locked on Nova Haven's coordinates. Jump drives at full capacity." "Execute jump," Petrov ordered. The Prometheus vanished from Earth space in a brief flash of quantum distortion, traveling through dimensions that conventional physics barely understood. Meanwhile, on Nova Haven, Commander Maya Lin was leading a guerrilla operation against the Scarith occupiers. The alien invaders had established their command center in what had been the colony's main administrative building, seemingly unaware that the structure itself was now part of Project Draco, slowly adapting, gathering intelligence, and preparing for the counterattack. "Their patrol patterns are precisely timed," Maya observed, watching through adaptive optical implants that allowed her to see through walls. "Every 37 minutes, clockwise rotation, groups of 3. Perfect predictability. Their weakness, muttered Rajiv Shah. We've identified their command structure. The High Commander remains on the flagship in orbit, but their ground forces are led by a sub-commander who never leaves the central chamber. The resistance had grown to over 200 capable fighters, using the adaptive weapons generated by Draco's transformation protocols. What had once been mining tools had reconfigured into energy weapons that could penetrate Scarith shields. Maintenance drones had become infiltration units, mapping the occupiers' positions and weaknesses. Deep beneath the colony, Dr. Elena Vasquez continued studying the mysterious energy signatures, now clearly recognizable as ancient alien technology deliberately buried on the moon eons ago. These aren't just random artifacts, she explained to Maya during a secure briefing. They're a test, something left here to determine if humans were worthy of something, and they're responding specifically to the genetic markers unlocked by Project Draco. What does that mean for us? Maya asked. It means, Elena replied, eyes wide with the implications, that whatever is buried here, new humans would eventually find it. It was waiting for us, waiting for a specific type of human that hasn't existed for thousands of years. Before Maya could process this revelation, their secure communication system pinged with an encrypted alert. A quantum signature had appeared at the edge of the system, unmistakably human in origin, but using technology that shouldn't exist yet. Reinforcements? Shah asked hopefully. Something better, Maya replied, decoding the signal. Dragon Protocol Response Team, ETA 19 minutes. The Prometheus emerged from quantum space at the outer edge of the system, its advanced stealth systems immediately activating to avoid detection by the Scarith fleet. Passive scans complete, reported the ship's tactical officer. 7 Scarith, vessels in orbit around the target moon. Energy signatures suggest their technology is approximately Class 3 on the technological development scale, significantly advanced beyond current human capabilities, but not at the level of complete energy manipulation. Inside the deployment bay, Dragon Squad made final preparations. Each operative connected to specialized neural interfaces, synchronizing their enhanced cognition with tactical systems. Their pupils contracted to vertical slits, skin hardening, subtly as protective layers activated beneath the surface. Remember your training, Petrov addressed her team. We've prepared for this scenario for years. The Scarith expect conventional human resistance. They have no concept of what we've become. We deploy in stealth drop pods, establish contact, with colonial resistance, then coordinate the counterattack. Lieutenant Chen examined the tactical display of Nova Haven. Their patrol patterns are predictable, too perfect. They rely on technological superiority rather than tactical adaptability. Classic sign of a species that's dominated for too long without significant challenge, noted Lieutenant Kira Yoshida, the squad's infiltration specialist, her fingers elongating slightly as she checked her equipment. They've forgotten how to improvise. Then we'll remind them, Petrov stated grimly. Primary objectives: eliminate Scarith ground forces, capture their sub-commander for intelligence, and secure the ancient technology beneath the colony. Questions? There were none. Each Dragon operative had been genetically selected, enhanced, and trained for this precise scenario. The Prometheus positioned itself in the moon's shadow, using its magnetic field to mask its signature from Scarith sensors. Drop pods ready, announced the ship's AI. Deployment window optimal in 30 seconds. The Dragon operatives entered their individual pods, sleek carbon fiber capsules designed for atmospheric insertion without detection. As the pods sealed around them, each operative underwent the final transformation phase. Their enhanced bodies responded to the surge of specialized hormones, completing the changes that would give them capabilities beyond ordinary human limits. Remember, Petrov's voice echoed through their neural links. Controlled transformation only. Level 2 enhancements for the initial phase. We can't risk full manifestation until we understand the ancient technology's response. The drop pods launched silently, their surfaces absorbing all electromagnetic radiation as they plummeted toward Nova Haven's surface. Inside, the Dragon operatives monitored the descent through neural interfaces, their enhanced reflexes making minute adjustments to ensure precise landing coordinates. On the colony's surface, the Scarith continued their methodical occupation, unaware of what approached. Their compound eyes could perceive spectrums beyond human vision. Their neural implants processed information faster than organic brains, and their weapons could disintegrate conventional armor in microseconds. None of these advantages had prepared them for Dragon Squad. The pods landed without impact signatures, deploying adaptive camouflage that rendered them virtually invisible. As the Dragon operatives emerged, their bodies seemed to shimmer slightly, adjusting to the moon's lower gravity and toxic atmosphere. Their enhanced physiologies needed no protective suits. Their skin had hardened into an impenetrable barrier, their lungs filtering toxins with perfect efficiency. Contact established with colonial resistance, reported Lieutenant Yoshida, her consciousness connecting directly with Nova Haven's adaptive systems. Commander Lin is coordinating from the deep shelter in Sector 7. Move out, Petrov ordered. Stealth approach to rendezvous point. Eliminate any Scarith patrols with extreme prejudice, no witnesses, no alarm. As Dragon Squad moved through the ruined colony, they encountered their first Scarith patrol. 3 7-foot insectoid warriors carrying energy weapons and scanning equipment. Before the aliens could register their presence, the operatives, struck with inhuman speed. Chen moved like liquid shadow, his hands transforming into razor-sharp appendages that severed the first alien's neural stem before it could transmit an alert. Yoshida seemingly teleported behind the second, her enhanced speed making her movement a blur even to the Scarith's compound eyes. Petrov engaged the third directly, her body absorbing an energy blast that would have vaporized an ordinary human, then responding with a precisely targeted strike that collapsed the alien's exoskeleton. The entire encounter lasted less than 4 seconds. First contact assessment complete, Petrov reported through their neural network. Scarith physiology confirmed vulnerable at junction points. Their neural systems operate on similar principles to our enhanced capabilities. Possible evidence of parallel evolutionary paths. Deep beneath the colony, the ancient energy signatures pulsed more intensely, resonating with the Dragon operatives' genetic modifications. Whatever had been buried there for millennia was awakening fully now, recognizing the presence of the specifically altered human DNA it had been waiting for. In her research chamber, Dr. Vasquez watched in astonishment as dormant systems activated, holographic interfaces materializing from what had appeared to be solid rock. The alien script began translating itself into recognizable patterns, not quite human language, but something her mind could suddenly comprehend. "They're coming," she whispered, understanding flooding her consciousness. "The ones we've been waiting for. The reclaimed children of the progenitors." As Dragon Squad approached the rendezvous point, the Nova Haven resistance fighters got their first glimpse of Earth's ultimate defensive weapon, humans transformed into something that existed between scientific advancement and ancient legend. Their eyes reflected light like predators, their movements carried the fluid grace of apex hunters, and their skin occasionally rippled with patterns that seemed almost reptilian. Commander Maya Lin showed no surprise as she greeted them. As one of the few colonial leaders with Omega-level clearance, she had known about Project Draco since its inception. "Welcome to Nova Haven, Commander Petrov," she said. "I see the Dragon Protocol was successfully activated." "Fully operational," Petrov confirmed. "We're still at Level 2 transformation, controllable, reversible, but we can go deeper if necessary." "It may be," Maya replied grimly. "The Scarith are preparing something big. They've established a quantum resonator in the main plaza, some kind of summoning technology. Our intelligence suggests they're calling for reinforcements." Petrov's vertical pupils contracted. "Timeline. 24 hours maximum. Dr. Vasquez has made a breakthrough with the ancient technology. You should hear this directly from her." As they moved through hidden passages toward Elena's research chamber, Maya briefed the Dragon operatives on colony resistance and Scarith vulnerabilities. The alien invaders were formidable but inflexible, relying on overwhelming technological superiority rather than tactical adaptability. They've never faced an enemy that could match their capabilities, Maya explained. Their species has been dominant in their region of space for millennia. They've forgotten how to fight equals. They're about to remember, Petrov replied, her voice carrying a resonant undertone that wasn't quite human. In the research chamber, Elena Vasquez stood surrounded by holographic displays showing alien script and biological schematics that looked disturbingly similar to the Dragon operatives' enhanced physiologies. It's incredible, she breathed, examining Petrov with scientific fascination. You're the key. The genetic key this technology has been waiting for. The Dragon protocol didn't create something new in human DNA. It reactivated something ancient. Something that was hidden away when the progenitors left our sector of space thousands of years ago. Progenitors? Lieutenant Chen questioned. An ancient species that seeded this galaxy with terraformed worlds and genetic potential, Elena explained. According to these records, they created the Scarith as a warrior caste. But the experiment failed. The Scarith rebelled, drove the progenitors from this sector of space. Before leaving, the progenitors created a contingency plan. Us, Petrov stated simply. Yes, Elena confirmed. Humans carried dormant genetic sequences, Dragon DNA essentially, that could be activated when needed. The Scarith aren't just random invaders, they're fulfilling an ancient pattern. And you're the response that was prepared millennia ago. The implications were staggering. Human myths of dragons weren't just legends, they were genetic memories, encoded instructions for adaptations that humans had once possessed but had evolved. Away from over millennia, this technology, Elena continued, gesturing at the ancient systems, can amplify your transformative capabilities beyond what Project Draco achieved. It can unlock the final stage, what the records call full manifestation. The Level 3. Transformation, Petrov mused. We've never attempted it. Too unstable, too unpredictable in testing. Because you lacked the stabilizing influence of this technology, Elena explained. It was designed specifically for this purpose, to enable humans to become what the Scarith fear most. On the colony surface, alarm klaxons suddenly blared from the Scarith occupation force. Their sensors had finally detected anomalies, energy, signatures that shouldn't exist, movement patterns that defied their understanding of human capabilities. The Scarith subcommander, an imposing figure with ornate carapace markings denoting high military rank, reviewed the sensor data with growing concern. Something had changed, something that didn't match any known human defense capabilities. Dispatch elite hunter units, he ordered. Maximum alert status, and inform High Commander Vexus Scarith that we may have encountered an irregularity. As night fell on Nova Haven, the hunt began, not just by the Scarith for the mysterious intruders, but by Dragon Squad for their prey. The ancient game of predator and prey had resumed after thousands of years, with the very future of humanity hanging in the balance. And deep beneath the surface, the ancient technology continued its awakening sequence, preparing for the final transformation that would reveal what dragons truly were. Fire and Redemption, the Scarith elite hunter units. Moved through Nova Haven's ruins with practiced precision, their carapaces gleaming dully in the artificial light. Each 7-foot warrior carried advanced sensor arrays and disintegration rifles, their compound eyes scanning multiple spectrums simultaneously. They were the pinnacle of Scarith military evolution, genetically enhanced, cybernetically augmented, and utterly devoted to the Dominion. They were being hunted. Movement detected in Sector 4, reported the unit leader, his mandibles clicking in agitation. Thermal signature inconsistent with standard human parameters. Impossible, replied his second. Humans cannot survive exposed atmospheric conditions. Without protective. The sentence remained unfinished as a shadow detached itself from the ceiling above them. Lieutenant Kira Yoshida dropped silently into their midst, her enhanced body moving faster than the Scarith's compound eyes could track. Before they could raise weapons, 3 warriors lay dead, their neural stems severed with surgical precision. The unit leader managed to fire a single energy pulse that would have vaporized ordinary human tissue. It struck Yoshida directly in the chest, the energy dissipating across her skin in rippling patterns like water on scales. Her eyes, vertical slits in irises that shifted between amber and gold, narrowed as she smiled, revealing teeth that had sharpened into predatory points. "They can be killed," she reported through the Dragon Squad neural link as she eliminated the remaining hunters. "Their exoskeletons are vulnerable at joint articulations, and their neural systems cannot process our enhanced speed." Across the colony, similar scenes played out as Dragon Squad systematically eliminated Scarith patrols. Lieutenant Chen moved through the alien command post's ventilation system, his body temporarily compressing to navigate spaces too small for his frame. Sergeant Rodriguez scaled a vertical wall without equipment, clawed fingers finding purchase in microscopic imperfections in the surface. Corporal Azikiwe swam through a flooded maintenance tunnel, remaining submerged for 15 minutes without breathing equipment. In the colony's central plaza, Commander Petrov observed the Scarith quantum resonator, a towering crystalline structure humming with energy that distorted space-time around it. Scans confirmed Elena's assessment. The device was calling for reinforcements, creating a subspace beacon that would bring the full might of the Scarith fleet within 24 hours. Status report. Petrov requested through the neural link. "Eastern. Quadrant cleared," reported Rodriguez. "Resistance fighters moving into position. Command post infiltration complete," Chen added. "Defense systems compromised, ready to initiate shutdown on your mark." "Northern perimeter secured," Yoshida confirmed. "Scarith communications hub neutralized." Petrov's enhanced vision zoomed in on the Scarith subcommander, now visible through the administrative building's transparent dome. The alien commander was surrounded by guards, reviewing tactical displays with growing agitation. They had lost contact with over 40% of their forces in less than 3 hours, with no clear understanding of what they faced. "Dr. Vasquez," Petrov called through a secure channel. "Status of the ancient technology?" In the underground chamber, Elena worked frantically at holographic interfaces that responded to her touch as if they'd been designed for human use, which she now understood they had been. "Activation sequence at 80%, she replied. "The system is fully responsive, but it's waiting for something specific, a genetic key that only fully transformed Dragon operatives can provide." "Meaning level 3 transformation," Petrov stated rather than asked. "Yes. According to these records, what we've called Project Draco is actually the reactivation of dormant genetic potential that was engineered into human ancestors by the progenitors. The Scarith were originally created as guardians, but they rebelled. Humans were designed as a contingency, a species that could rapidly evolve and eventually manifest the capabilities needed to contain the Scarith if necessary. And dragons are what we become," Petrov mused. "Not exactly," Elena corrected. "Dragon legends on Earth were cultural memories of the few times these genetic sequences activated spontaneously throughout human history. What you're becoming is what humans were always meant to be. The final form the progenitors designed before they were driven from this sector of space." In the command center, Maya coordinated the resistance fighters as they prepared for the counterattack. The colonists had been arming themselves with adaptive weapons generated by Draco's transformation protocols, mining tools reconfigured into energy weapons, maintenance drones repurposed as combat support units. "Dragon Squad has neutralized 43% of Scarith ground forces," she reported to her team. "Their patrol patterns are disrupted, and their command structure is showing signs of destabilization. We move on the primary objective in 30 minutes. The primary objective was twofold: destroy the quantum resonator before reinforcements could arrive, and capture the Scarith subcommander for intelligence. Both required precise coordination between Dragon Squad and the colonial resistance. High. Above the moon, aboard the Scarith flagship, High Commander Vexus Scarith received increasingly disturbing reports from the surface. His compound eyes narrowed as he reviewed sensor data that made no logical sense. Humans were a known quantity, physically frail, technologically limited, but adaptable. These readings suggested capabilities beyond any previously documented. Human parameters. Magnify Sector 7, he ordered, studying thermal signatures that showed impossible body temperatures and metabolic rates. Deploy second-wave reinforcements immediately. And prepare the purification protocol. The purification protocol was reserved for only the most extreme contamination scenarios. A targeted radiation burst that would sterilize the moon's surface, down to bedrock, eliminating all organic matter while leaving structures intact. Back on the surface, Petrov made her decision. Dr. Vasquez, we're initiating full integration with the ancient technology. Prepare for Level 3 transformation. Understood, Elena replied, her voice tense with anticipation. The chamber is ready. But Commander, once initiated, the transformation may be irreversible. Noted, Petrov replied simply. To her squad, she added, execute primary assault in synchronized formation. Lieutenant Chen, neutralize their defense grid. Lieutenant Yoshida, infiltrate the command post and secure the sub-commander. Rodriguez and Azikiwe, create diversion at the eastern perimeter. I'm proceeding to the ancient chamber for final activation. As Dragon Squad moved into position, the colonial resistance fighters followed, providing support and secondary containment. What the Scarith encountered was unlike anything in their combat records. Humans moving with impossible speed, absorbing energy weapons that should have vaporized organic tissue, coordinating with uncanny precision that suggested some form of hive mind capability. Lieutenant Chen reached the Scarith Defense Grid Control Center, his body flowing through security barriers that should have been impenetrable. The alien technicians barely registered his presence before they were neutralized. His hands, now ending in taloned digits with enhanced neural interfaces, connected directly with the Scarith systems, his enhanced mind processing alien coding, structures as if they were familiar. Defense grid neutralized, he reported, triggering a cascading shutdown that left Scarith forces without tactical coordination. Simultaneously, Yoshida infiltrated the administrative building, moving like liquid shadow through security checkpoints. The Scarith guards detected her only at the final moment, too late to prevent her from reaching the sub-commander's chamber. Target secured, she reported moments later, the alien commander immobilized by precisely targeted strikes to his neural clusters. Proceeding to extraction point. Rodriguez and Azikiwe created the planned diversion, their enhanced bodies now demonstrating capabilities that pushed the boundaries of Level 2 transformation. Rodriguez's skin hardened into an armored carapace that deflected energy weapons, while Azikiwe demonstrated limited control over electrical fields, disrupting Scarith communications with electromagnetic pulses generated from his own nervous system. Commander Petrov reached the ancient chamber, where Elena waited with the activated technology. A circular platform surrounded by crystalline structures that pulsed with energy patterns matching those now visible beneath Petrov's skin. The final integration requires direct genetic interface, Elena explained, indicating a crystalline pedestal at the chamber's center. Once initiated, the transformation will cascade through all Dragon operatives via your neural link. Petrov stepped onto the platform without hesitation. Begin sequence. Elena activated the final protocol. The chamber hummed with energy as ancient systems connected with Petrov's enhanced biology. For a moment, nothing visible happened. Then, Petrov's body arched as golden light coursed through her veins, illuminating her from within. The transformation began slowly, then accelerated. Her skin hardened into iridescent scales that shimmered with metallic hues. Her skeletal structure reorganized, becoming both stronger and more flexible. Her sensory organs evolved, enhancing already superhuman capabilities. Most dramatically, specialized organ structures formed along her spine and within her chest cavity. Biological mechanisms unlike anything in Earth's evolutionary history. Throughout Nova Haven, the other Dragon operatives experienced the same transformation as the genetic changes transmitted through their neural link. Colonial resistance fighters watched in awe as their superhuman allies became something beyond human understanding, the perfect synthesis of advanced biology and technology that the progenitors had designed eons ago. In the Scarith command post, the sub-commander regained consciousness to find himself secured by restraints that adapted to his every attempt at escape. Before him stood Lieutenant Yoshida, her transformation now complete. Her eyes glowed with internal fire, her skin shimmered with scales that reflected light in impossible patterns. And when she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that resonated with the alien's neural system directly. "Your invasion ends now," she stated, not as a threat but as simple fact. "The contingency has activated." The sub-commander's compound eyes widened in recognition and primal fear. "Impossible," he chittered. "The progenitor's failsafe was a myth, a story to frighten hatchlings." "Myths often contain truth," Yoshida replied. "Your ancestors knew what they feared. Now you will witness it firsthand." Above the colony, the Scarith flagship began final preparations for the purification protocol. Energy signatures indicated a massive power buildup as planet-killer weapons prepared to fire. Multiple energy signatures detected in orbit, Maya reported from the command center. "They're preparing to sterilize the surface." In the ancient chamber, Petrov completed her transformation. Her consciousness had expanded, connecting not just with her squad, but with the ancient systems buried throughout the moon. What she now understood would have driven an ordinary human mind to insanity. The full scope of the progenitor's plan, the true nature of human potential, and the capabilities now at her disposal. "Coordinate surface evacuation," she ordered, her voice resonating with power. "All resistance fighters to deep shelters immediately." Through her enhanced senses, she perceived the Scarith flagship powering its main weapon, a radiation emitter designed to scour planets clean of life. With a thought, she activated the ancient defense systems that had lain dormant for millennia. Throughout the moon, crystalline structures similar to those in the chamber emerged from beneath the surface, forming a network that began generating a protective field around the colony. "They're firing!" Maya's voice came through the communication network as a blinding beam of energy lanced from the Scarith flagship toward Nova Haven's surface. The beam struck the protective field and scattered, dissipating harmlessly into space. In the ancient chamber, Petrov smiled, a predator's expression of satisfaction. With another thought, she activated the final phase of the progenitor's contingency plan. From deep within the moon, a counterattack launched. Not conventional weapons, but directed energy that targeted the Scarith vessels with unerring precision. The energy beams connected with the ship's hulls, not to destroy but to transmit, sending a coded signal directly into the Scarith's biological control systems. Aboard the flagship, High Commander Vexus Scarith watched in horror as his crew began convulsing, their neural implants overridden by a signal that accessed genetic failsafes implanted by the progenitors millennia ago. The rebellion that had freed the Scarith from their creators had never been complete. The progenitors had installed a genetic kill switch, one that could only be activated by their chosen successors. "Full spectrum jamming," he ordered desperately. "Disconnect all neural interfaces." But it was too late. Throughout the Scarith fleet, command systems failed as the alien warriors experienced a genetically programmed response to the signal. Complete neural shutdown. On the surface, Dragon squad converged on the central plaza where the quantum resonator still pulsed with energy. Their transformed bodies now demonstrated the full capabilities the progenitors had designed. Controlled biological energy manipulation, adaptive physiology, and neural processing capabilities that bordered on precognition. "Neutralize the resonator," Petrov ordered, her voice echoing through their enhanced connection. The Dragon operatives surrounded the crystalline structure, their transformed physiologies interacting with it on a fundamental level. The specialized organ structures that had developed during their transformation now served their purpose, generating focused energy that manifested as concentrated plasma, superheated to temperatures that could melt even the resonator's exotic materials. In human mythology, this capability had been remembered as Dragon's Breath, a controlled fusion reaction generated biologically and directed with perfect precision. As the operatives released this energy simultaneously, the quantum resonator destabilized, its crystalline structure fracturing along molecular boundaries before collapsing completely. With the resonator destroyed and the Scarith fleet neutralized, Petrov returned to the ancient chamber where Elena waited, her scientific curiosity warring with stunned awe at what human beings had become. It worked, Elena stated simply. The progenitor's contingency plan worked perfectly. Not quite as they intended, Petrov replied, her transformed voice carrying layers of meaning beneath the words. They designed us as weapons, fail-safes to correct their mistake with the Scarith. But we've evolved beyond their programming. Through her connection with the ancient systems, Petrov had accessed the complete records of the progenitors, their rise, their creation of servant species including the Scarith, their eventual retreat from this sector of space, and their contingency plans. The progenitors had engineered early humans with dormant capabilities, intending them as living weapons to be activated if necessary. But humanity had developed along its own path, evolving both biologically and culturally in ways the progenitors hadn't anticipated. Project Draco hadn't created something new. It had reawakened what had always been within human DNA, waiting for the right catalyst. In the command center, Maya coordinated the recovery operation as resistance fighters emerged from shelters to reclaim their colony. The Scarith ground forces, their neural networks compromised by the same signal that had affected the fleet, had collapsed into catatonic states. "What happens now?" she asked when Petrov arrived, transformed beyond recognition, yet still unmistakably human in her movements and expressions. "That depends on what we choose," Petrov replied. "The Scarith aren't destroyed, just neutralized. Their neural systems will reset within weeks. We have options." Those options became the subject of intense debate as Earth authorities received full reports of what had transpired at Nova Haven. The existence of the progenitors, the true nature of Project Draco, and the implications for humanity's place in the galaxy raised profound questions about humanity's future. 2 months later, a diplomatic delegation arrived from the core Scarith territories. Not warriors this time, but representatives of the civilian government that had always existed beneath the military dominion. They came not to conquer but to negotiate, their worldview fundamentally altered by the activation of the progenitor's contingency. In the newly rebuilt Nova Haven Colonial Administration Building, Commander Maya Lin welcomed the Scarith delegation alongside Admiral Jiang Wei and Dr. Elena Vasquez. Notably absent were Commander Petrov and the Dragon operatives, who had returned to Earth for comprehensive evaluation and to determine their role in humanity's future. "We come seeking understanding," the lead Scarith representative stated, his posture demonstrating formal submission. "For millennia we believed ourselves free of the progenitor's control, only to discover we were still bound by their genetic programming." "As were we in a different way," Admiral Jiang replied diplomatically. "Both our species were engineered as tools for ancient masters. Both have exceeded their original design. Perhaps that common origin offers a foundation for cooperation rather than conflict." The negotiations that followed established the framework for cautious cooperation between humanity and the Scarith Dominion. The Scarith acknowledged humanity's claim to Nova Haven and several other disputed territories, while humans shared limited information about neutralizing the genetic controls the progenitors had embedded in Scarith biology. On Earth, the Dragon operatives adjusted to their transformed state, neither fully human nor alien, but something new that represented humanity's potential future. The Level 3 transformation had indeed proven irreversible, but not limiting. They retained their intelligence, personalities, and human perspective, while possessing capabilities that redefined what was biologically possible. Project Draco remained classified, but its implications rippled through human society. The knowledge that humans carried genetic potential beyond current understanding sparked a renaissance in biological research and philosophical debate about humanity's true nature and destiny among the stars. 6 months after the Nova Haven incident, Commander Petrov stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital defense platform, watching ships depart for newly established colonies. Her transformed body had adapted further, finding equilibrium between human identity and enhanced capabilities. The iridescent scales that had initially covered her skin had receded to strategic locations. Her eyes had retained their vertical pupils but could now shift between human and enhanced vision modes, and the specialized organ structures had integrated seamlessly with her human physiology. "Contemplating our place in the universe?" asked Admiral Zhang, joining her at the viewport. "Contemplating choices," Petrov replied. "The progenitors created us as weapons, but we've chosen a different path. The Scarith created themselves as conquerors, but they're learning alternatives. Perhaps that's the true test. Not what we were designed to be, but what we choose to become." Below them, Earth rotated serenely, a blue marble that had unknowingly carried the genetic legacy of an ancient civilization within its dominant species. That legacy had been awakened not to destroy but to protect, not to conquer but to defend. As reports arrived from Nova Haven of successful integration between colonial systems and the ancient technology, Petrov smiled, an expression that still carried echoes of the predator she had become, yet remained fundamentally human in its hope and determination. The dragons of Earth had awakened not to burn worlds, but to forge a new future among the stars, one where humanity's fire would light the way forward rather than reducing civilizations to ash. The progenitors' contingency plan had succeeded, but not as they had intended. Their weapons had become diplomats, their destroyers had become defenders, and their genetic legacy had found expression in a species that would chart its own course among the stars. As Petrov watched a diplomatic vessel depart for Scarith space, carrying human representatives and dragon operatives as guards, she activated her neural link to the squad one final time. "Remember who we are," she transmitted to her teams scattered across the solar system on various missions. "Not what we were, made to be, but what we choose to become." Across millions of kilometers, transformed humans received her message and understood. They were no longer just soldiers or even just humans. They were living bridges between what humanity had been and what it could become, between Earth's past and its stellar future. The fire of dragons would light humanity's path to the stars. Not to burn, but to illuminate. Not to destroy, but to forge. Not as conquerors, but as guardians of what humanity could achieve when it embraced its full potential. That was a legacy worthy of both dragons and humans alike.